Do you trust the government? Well, the Pew Research Center's latest survey found that only 16% of the American public does. And according to UFO whistleblower David Grusch, 0% of the 40 witnesses that he interviewed as part of his ICIG complaint trust the government's forward-facing UFO investigation office, AARO. 0 of 40. As reported by Merrick Van Rennenkamp, not only is there a lack of trust in AARO, but also in the command climate as well. And for all the lifelong civilians out there, including myself, the term command climate refers to how members of a unit perceive the culture created by their leadership. Looking at you, Kirkpatrick. However, Grusch is aware of 3 individuals with secondhand knowledge of the program that were interviewed by AARO, and that did provide some interesting leads. But AARO apparently didn't have the expertise that was needed to pick up on the breadcrumbs these witnesses laid out that would have provided AARO with access to the foreign intelligence and U.S. program information that Grusch himself was able to access. So ask yourself this: if you interviewed 40 individuals and all 40 of them didn't trust the same organization that they were supposed to report to, would you trust them as well? Of course you wouldn't, and I think that scenario gives context to exactly why Grusch would give his testimony to the ICIG, but he wouldn't give it to AARO himself. And although AARO has had a change in leadership from Kirkpatrick to Phillips, according to Matt Ford, nothing has changed. And Gary Nolan has stated that AARO has discredited itself beyond redemption. And Gary also thinks that the ICIG report and the audit of AARO can't come soon enough. But the audit of AARO will only happen if Section 1001 of the Senate-submitted FY25 Intelligence Authorization Act is voted into law later this year, as reported by D. Dean Johnson. In this legislation, the audit is technically referred to as review to be performed by the Comptroller General, who is the head of the Government Accountability Office, which is a support component of Congress, not the executive branch nor the DoD. And while Representative Garcia has recently reintroduced legislation associated with the UAP Review Board and eminent domain, which are basically the parts of Chuck Schumer's UAP Disclosure Act that were removed at the end of the year. And Tim Burchett also just introduced a simplified, straight-to-the-point UAP Transparency Act on May 17th. However, it's still to be determined if our elected officials can get the military-industrial complex to be more transparent with we the people. But there is also support outside of Congress to push for greater government transparency related to UAPs. The UAP Disclosure Fund, which is headed up by some of the most influential voices in the UFO community, is working to support new UAP legislation, provide legal representation for UFO whistleblowers, and promote scientific research and raise public awareness of the UAP issue. And I encourage you to go over to uapdisclosurefund.org and sign their petition to hold the government accountable to the American people. And yes, it's absolutely free to do so. And yes, if you feel inclined to do so, you can further support this 501c4 nonprofit organization whose board members are volunteers by making a donation. It's up to you to make that decision, but I'll tell you from my experience, when I invested into the Stars Academy, I didn't expect a return on my investment, but what it did do for me is it allowed me to have some skin in the game, and it's made me pay closer attention to the day-to-day nuances of the UAP disclosure effort. So that's what I think it would do for you, but it would also go to a good cause, because I do think that they're doing more to influence the conversation than I'm ever going to be able to do in my bedroom making these videos. So these guys are out there on the front lines and they deserve some support. So consider it. Thank you for your time. Come in. Hold on, everyone. My wife is coming in and checking her phone and looking good while she does it.
Love you, babe.
Love you.